Hello everyone, I'm Kuru and today I'm here to give you some art advice. As a disclaimer, I am not going to point out every single thing that I think could be improved, just some of the details that stick out to me. Also, feel free not to listen to my advice if you don't want to. That's fine too. Today, we have here this very pretty art by Sarissa Vtuber on Twitter. I really like this piece. I think it's of an art of Iron Mouse, if I am not mistaken. And I really like the colors and I love the outfit. I especially like the gradient down the leg. It's also a really fun pose and I think it's a very good composition. The hair are framing the body very nicely. It creates like this round shape that it's very nice to look at. Now for some improvements, I would like to start with just general advice. One thing that stood out to me is that the pen pressure is the same for all the lines. There is some variation in pen size, which is good. I can see here that there is a smaller size used, but the pressure of the line is the same. So if I show you like this line over here and I show you this line over here, you can tell that like I can change the pressure depending on how much I am pressing down on my tablet. And now I don't know if this person drew this with a tablet or not. If you are using a mouse, then you wouldn't have any pressure and that's just something that you're gonna have to deal with. I think there are ways to make lines with the pen pressure even with a mouse. I think you can use vector lines if you're using Clip Studio like I am. If you make a vector layer and you make a line with this, then you can actually edit the object like this, and you can adjust the line width, and like this, I can narrow one side of the line so that it looks like this part is thicker and it becomes thinner and thinner. I can do the opposite here too, I can make this thicker. So consider using the vector layers if you're using Clip Studio. If you're using a different program, I can't really help you. But just look around Google for some solutions. Another thing about the line art is that it's all in black, which is, I think, very common for beginners to do. I used to do black line art as well, and it can be good, but it sticks out a lot here because the line art is a bit thick. So the black in the lines really sticks out. If you want to give the lines a softer feeling, then you want to color in the line art. So if you make a line like this, maybe you color underneath on a different layer. And go in, you color, you're drawing. And then you're like, oh, I want to change the color of the lines. You can simply make a new layer, make it into a clip-in layer, and choose your color. And simply draw on top of the lines. And that's a very easy way to color your line art. And with clip-in layers is very nice because then you can build on top of your colors without changing the colors underneath. So if you're like, okay, I want to color this side blue, and then you change your mind, you can just delete this layer and you will still have the colors underneath. So definitely use clip-in layers instead of lock-in transparent pixels if you want a less destructive way of working. And another thing that stuck out to me is the spacing between the eyes. I've talked about this in my last video, but the eyes have not enough spacing in between them. So if we take the size of this eye, it's, oh wow, that's a big pen. This is the size of this eye. You want the same space in between the eyes as the size of one eye. So let's pull them apart and see what they look like. All right. Here's the difference. As you can see, the face looks a bit more balanced now. The mouth is also suffering from a problem of being slightly too thin or too squished together. So let's make the mouth a little bit wider too. There we go. There's the difference. Makes the face a little bit more balanced. It's something that you just will have to train your eye to see. The size of the mouth, especially in anime style, can be very varied, but if you look at it and you feel something is off, then try to look at references to check if you're doing something different. Maybe look at your favorite artists and think like, okay, what do I like about their art and how do they do it, and try and copy them. Another thing, I really like the legs here. I think they're very well done, and the shading here as well. One thing that was bothering me here is this black area around here. I am not sure if this was meant as a coloring of the skin or as shading, because I can see that the shading here has been done with a dark pink here as well and around here. So I was a bit confused about this black area, if it's meant to be general shading or if it's meant to be signifying a dark gradient on her skin, as in she has like a black hand and like this black gradient going up her arm. So I'm just going to leave it in case it is meant to be like that. But one thing in general, do not shade with black if you want to do that. It's not usually a very good look to shade with black. Also, if with things like this, it's good that it looks like it's intentional. So otherwise a person might look at this and think, oh, they've shaded this part with black, but they made all the other shading very nice. I wonder why. So if you want to make things like this stick out, I would recommend putting your hand forward and just showing maybe like a black hand in front. Here are the nails. Put them pink like the other hand. And you know, just show that like, oh yes, this hand is also like a dark color, so it was meant to be the entire time. Or you could make veins go up her hand as well, like little black smoky veins. Something like that, just to signify that there is like this darkness sticking over. One more thing, I think the going back to the face, this chin is very pointy. So let's just try and make her chin slightly less pointy. You want your characters to look soft, especially when they're cute like this. I mean, Iron Mouse is very, very cute, very adorable. You want to bring out her cute parts. It softens the general appearance of the face, makes her look slightly cuter. And then I also noticed that these highlights around the hair and also around the clothes, they are done with the white airbrush, I'm going to guess, which it can work in certain situations, but I would also advise against that. Shading with pure black and pure white is usually not a good idea. So what you want to do for shading hair like this is you'll pick your base color. If we take this into consideration, for example, pick your base color and then you want to go slightly down on the saturation and value, or at least this is how I do it. And for the shadows, you want to go for a colder color, so you want to go slightly more down. Let's pick this and make it darker a little bit. And so for the shadows, you would want to use a color that's more like this. So it's a bit more vivid, it's a bit more alive, but it's still darker. It still registers as shadow. While for the highlights, I usually do use a screen layer with the base color. It doesn't always work, but let's color this over first with the base color. Okay, so let's take this section as an example. If I have my base color selected, I make a new layer on top and I set it to screen in the blending mode. I will also clip it so I don't color around or outside the edges. It would give me a lighter color. It usually looks pretty nice. Otherwise, if you don't want to do screen or it doesn't look very good, set it to normal. From your base color, you want to do the opposite of what you have done for the shadows. So you go slightly lighter and you go towards a warmer color. So you go slightly more up here and you will get a lighter color. Make it even lighter. See? And what I usually use for shading is a opaque watercolor brush. And I would simply make the stroke lines following the flow of the hair. And I think with hair is very nice that some strokes actually come through because it gives the hair a sense of texture. And then you can just blur or blend according to your own preference. You have to play around with these things a bit to understand your own preferences and what works for you. I think I blend a lot and then I go in with more details afterwards. But this is my the general way that I do it. And I would usually also just put in some shading around, just around here, just because I think it looks nice. And I mean, for the hair highlights, there's a lot of different ways to do it. You can make them more chunky. So if you want like a very chunky highlight, you could go for something like this. And then just fix it however you see fit. Or you can do some more painterly strokes. It's really all up to your own preferences. But try to stay away from pure white and pure black. Those don't usually look so good. Let's see, I'll take one last thing. I think like I said, the legs are very nice, but I think that the torso area could be improved when it comes to the composition. So I did do a quick sketch before, just to map out the general body structure. And I think, once again, like we saw in the last video, the shoulders tend to be always a problem. The shoulder area here, this area is not well connected. So here are our shoulders. This is definitely too short. Like you can see, this is the shoulder and then a very short one here. And it could be, there is a little bit of third in the body, but I don't think it's enough to have this big of a difference between the size of shoulders. I think there needs to be like a bit more space here. And then this shoulder also needs to go up. So she is having her arms up. So her shoulder shouldn't be going down, right? It should be going up. If you're not sure about how a pose looks, try and do it yourself. Take a look in the mirror and see what your arms and your hands are doing. And if you try and put your hand on your hip or behind your hip in this case, you will see that your shoulder goes up because you're pulling up your elbow, right? So you want your arm, your shoulder to go up instead here. And the same goes for this shoulder. This shoulder we want it to go even higher up because this one is pulled even higher. And the elbow should be doing, the forearm should be doing more of this arch. Okay, let's follow this then. Arm up here. Elbow higher in this case. And there we go. Another thing that I would have liked to see is changing her hand. Instead of having her peace sign up above her eye, I think she should be framing her eye with the peace sign. I think it will look nicer. It will just draw the attention to her eyes, which are very nicely drawn. Let's do that. And I think that's it for today. We can look at the difference between the original and my corrections. I couldn't correct everything, but I hope that the suggestions I gave can be of use to you, so you can go back and improve on your drawing. And thank you so much again for your submission, Sarissa, and good luck on your art journey. Before we go, I wanted to plug my coffee. I have a coffee account and a membership subscription on there when you can get monthly wallpaper rewards, and also PSD files, sketches, and exclusive process videos. So if you want to support me, coffee is a great place. I am currently offering commissions on my coffee. They're very cheap, but slots are very limited. So if you want to support me in another way, you can also do that. And I will keep doing the series. So if you guys want to send me more drawings for corrections and art advice, I will gladly take a look at them. Feel free to do so on my Twitter. And don't forget to like and subscribe as usual. Bye bye!